Audiobook Academy Biography presents Dorothy Johnson Vaughan. On the Scout Launch Vehicle program, Dorothy Johnson Vaughan worked as a mathematician to help launch America's very first satellites into orbit. In the early days of the aerospace industry, Dorothy Johnson Vaughan, an African-American math instructor, was a notable mathematical engineer. The desegregation of the U.S. defense industry allowed Vaughan to join NASA's Fortran team, where he worked with some of the organization's most accomplished computer programmers and coders. She was a member of the Scout Launch Vehicle program, which sent satellites into orbit. She and several female African-American mathematicians are featured in a film called Hidden Figures, which was released in 2016. Early years. September 20, 1910, was the date of Dorothy Johnson's birth in Kansas City, Missouri. Leonard and Ann Johnson, her parents, moved the family to Morgantown, West Virginia, when she was 7 years old. She earned a high school diploma from Beechurst High School in 1925 and a bachelor's degree in science from Wilberforce University in Ohio 4 years later. She wed Howard Vaughan in 1932. Mathematics as a career. She taught mathematics at Robert Rusamatone High School in Farmville, Virginia, for the next 11 years while juggling her role as a stay-at-home mom. For Vaughan, working as a mathematician at the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, NASA's forerunner, in Newport News, Virginia, was merely a stopgap measure in 1943. Vaughan was among the first set of African Americans hired as mathematicians and scientists as a result of President Franklin D. Roosevelt's Executive Order 8802. The executive order prohibits discrimination based on race, religion, or ethnicity in the defense business. Working in a secluded environment. The executive order, on the other hand, nonetheless compelled colored mathematicians to labor apart from their white female counterparts in their respective states and municipalities. It was decided that Vaughan would be placed in the West Area Computing Unit, which had its own set of cafeteria and bathroom facilities. She was responsible for calculating mathematical computations for engineers conducting aeronautical studies in wind tunnels on the variables affecting drag and lift of aircraft while working at NACA. Vaughan was appointed to manager of the West Area Computers in 1949, becoming the first black supervisor at NACA. Only female African-American mathematicians were included in this project. She worked alongside other well-known computer operators on numerous projects because of her title, which provided her unique visibility. As a result, she became a fierce defender of other women's advancement in the workplace, particularly white women. Cooperate with the space agency and its various programs. Vaughan was in charge of West Area Computing for a decade. It wasn't until 1958 that the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, ended segregation in the workplace. To this day, Vaughan is an adept Fortran programmer for the Scout, Solid Controlled Orbital Utility Test, Launch Vehicle program, one of the nation's most successful and reliable launch vehicles for the 385-pound satellite it launches into an orbit 500 miles in the sky. In later years. As a result, Vaughan was unsuccessful in his efforts to secure a new management post at NASA. In 1971, she hung up her hat. She worked closely with fellow NASA mathematicians Katherine G. Johnson and Mary Jackson on the successful launch of astronaut John Glenn into space in the final decade of her career. This instilled a renewed sense of confidence to the American space program. Sadly, Vaughan passed away on November 10 of that year. In the 2016 film Hidden Figures, her legacy and the stories of the other women of West Computing are preserved. Thank you for listening in Audiobook Academy. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button for more content like this. See you in next video.